So here's where we are today. The President of the United States goes on social media and says essentially, we might destroy your civilization, and then, in the same breath, we love your people. Now, as a Desert Storm Marine, I've seen confusing orders before. But this is the first time I've seen foreign policy that sounds like it was written by a couple's therapist during a breakup. And if you're sitting there thinking, wait, how do those two statements go together? Congratulations, you're still using standard dimensions. Because I'm told by very confident people in comment sections everywhere, this is 4D chess. Now let's be fair. Strategy is real. A good strategy applies pressure in one place, signals restraint in another, and creates leverage over time. That's how negotiation works: military, diplomatic, economic. But here's the key: strategy has to be coherent. It has to point somewhere. It has to produce concrete outcomes. And most importantly, you have to be able to tell the difference between a plan and improvisation wearing a confident tone. Because what we're looking at right now is something altogether new. We've created a version of strategy where contradiction equals depth, confusion equals sophistication, and saying two opposite things at the same time equals genius. That's not 4D chess, that's Schrödinger's foreign policy. The policy is both escalation and compassion until observed. And I can already hear it. You just don't understand. No, I understand strategy just fine. They teach us that in the Marine Corps. What I don't understand is calling contradiction a plan. Because if your explanation is, it looks inconsistent now, but trust me, it'll make sense later, that's not strategy. That's a blank check that you hope no one will ever cash. And here's the part that should make everyone uncomfortable. Nothing has even happened yet. No follow-through, no results, no measurable outcome. And we're being told already that this is brilliant. Think about how insane that is. We've reached a point where the absence of results is enough to prove that the strategy is working. That's not analysis. That's faith. And this is where it stops being funny, because a constitutional republic depends on something very simple: the ability to evaluate leadership based on outcomes. Not based on vibes, not based on tone, not based on how confidently someone says contradictory things. Outcomes. Rocks are hard and water is wet. Outcomes. If we lose that, if we replace it with whatever happens was part of the plan, then we've created a leadership that cannot fail. And a leadership that cannot fail can also not be held accountable. And to be clear, this isn't about one president. Both parties have trained voters to do this. When their side wins, it's strategy. When their side fails, it's still strategy. And when it contradicts itself, you just don't get it. That's how personality replaces principle. This is how outcomes stop mattering. This is how systems decay, quietly, comfortably, and with a fan club. So here's the question nobody wants to answer. What outcome would prove that this isn't 4D chess? If the answer is nothing, then you're not analyzing leadership. You're defending it, good or bad. Real strategy doesn't need mythology. It doesn't need extra dimensions. It doesn't need a translator explaining why contradictions are actually brilliance. If threatening to destroy a country while praising its people counts as strategy, then anything can be strategy. And if anything can be strategy, then nothing is. And that's how a republic stops thinking and starts rationalizing.